What's up, guys? Horror Man back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the ultimate Dracula action figure by NECA Toys, and we're also going to take a look at the ultimate Dracula accessory set, also by NECA Toys. So these are pretty cool, and of course obviously they'll go hand in hand if you're looking to get both of them. So let's go ahead and take a look at the box for Dracula, and then we'll look at the box for the accessory set. The Ultimate Dracula packaging is really cool. It definitely has that classic old school Dracula poster. You do get some of the cast written on the front there, and of course it says Ultimate Count Dracula at the bottom. Top, you just get the logo for Dracula. The bottom has the credits for the figure. Couple cool pictures on the sides along with some logos. I really love this picture with the light just hitting his eyes. Some really cool photos on the back of the Dracula figure, along with just a quick little read up of some of the accessories. Once you get back to the front, there is a flap that you can open, and it shows a really cool picture of the Dracula figure again. And then if you just open the flap completely, you do get a nice clear view of the figure displayed inside. So very cool looking packaging. Now let's look at the Dracula accessory box. The Dracula accessory set has a much different packaging. It looks a bit more like original art, which I really love, and you can see some of the critters around the coffin itself, with Dracula's hand kind of peeking out of there. But all of the actual included contents are featured on the box, which is really cool. On the side, you just get a cool little picture of Dracula with his hand coming out of the coffin, and then kind of just a ghostly image of him in the background. And then over to the back, again, you see some of the different critters and stuff featured. Those are included with this accessory set. You got the coffin, you got some kind of light just kind of barely peeking in, showing a ghostly image of Dracula here. A little description of the contents, which is nice. Just some credits for people involved. So a much bigger box than the actual Dracula figure. You can see how much bigger it is. So let's go ahead and get these both out of the box and have a closer look. Alright, so here is the Ultimate Dracula outside of the packaging. And he does look very, very cool. So just for starters, the cape is not on him inside of the box. You will have to attach that, and I'll show you how to do that on the accessories segment. It's very, very easy. I did want to show you, you do get a really cool little packaging insert with him, so if you like to do toy photography, these make for some really cool backdrops for your pictures. It's basically just Dracula's castle, like the basement of the castle where his casket is. You can see some of the background elements like the columns and the stairs and also the casket. So really cool little packaging insert. So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the head sculpts. We'll look at the articulation, the different accessories, the cape of course, and then we'll have another segment about the accessory set once I'm done looking at the figure. I'll do some comparisons later, give you my final thoughts, and a little slideshow of pictures. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the head sculpts. Alright, so taking a look at the first head sculpt here, and this is the one that's on him inside of the packaging. A very cool head sculpt here. He's definitely got a bit more of like a smirk to him. But man, the likeness of Bela Lugosi is just so good. And you're going to notice that on all these head sculpts. The likenesses are just fantastic. But yeah, just really nice details, very lifelike. You can see like some different wrinkles in the forehead. He's got, of course, the widow's peak like most of the vampires have. But he has this like allure to his eyes. Like you could see he's kind of like almost demanding something or controlling your mind. So just a really, really good head sculpt here. And over to the side again, you can see some really nice details in his face, just a little bit of wrinkles around his eyes, a little bit of marks on his face for his grin. Like I said, he's definitely got like a grin or like almost like a smile to this head sculpt. And over to the back of the head, the hairline looks really good, very combed back. You really do see very little texture in that hair, but it's definitely there and it's just enough. So in total you get 3 different head sculpts with this Bela Lugosi Dracula here. So the first extra head sculpt you get is a bit more of like a serious face, which looks really good. And then the other head sculpt you're going to get is going to be his like angry, I'm going to suck your blood face, so that looks really cool too. And you'll notice that the necks are attached. So to go ahead and interchange the head, just want to take that off. And it's very easy actually, no effort really needed. You can see the peg is deep down within that collar. And then you're just going to want to pop the new head sculpt on, and then that fits in there very easily. Here is the more like serious head sculpt, and this one looks really good as well. Again, you have a lot of detail with the lines in the face, much different expression of course, and you can definitely see some really good details in the face, especially on the left side of his face. He's definitely got some marks on his skin. Just overall, really good neutral head sculpt for your Dracula. And then finally, you can't have a monster figure without having a really angry face. So here's your angry head sculpt for Dracula. And you can see he's much different in his sculpt. He's got that angry, snarled look with the kind of brow, with the eyebrows kind of going up and on an angle. Just got a really, really angry face. Now, what's always been weird about this Dracula is you actually don't see vampire teeth, and he never really makes contact on film with people's necks. You see him going in for the kill or in to suck the blood, but you never really see him do it. So it was very conservative for a horror movie, but it is made in 1931, so of course things were a little different than today. So yeah, you're not going to get those classic vampire teeth. But even without those teeth, he definitely looks very, very menacing in his expression. So taking a look at the rest of Dracula here, starting with the torso, this is definitely a more dapper Dracula than the Draculas over the years. So he's got basically like a tuxedo shirt with a tuxedo with the tails on it, a handkerchief coming out of his pocket it looks like. You do have some buttons in the jacket, some buttons on the vest. And of course he has his classic red necklace with his logo or his like emblem on here. And it looks pretty good. There does look to be like maybe a couple little flubs in the paint. Not too bad. You got the little like bow tie up at the top here around his collar. But the details look really good for the most part, even though he's kind of a simple design figure. It's mainly just a character with a tuxedo. He does have some really nice details in his hands, and I definitely like the ring on his left hand. But he has these kind of gestures for the most part where he's kind of trying to control your mind, or just kind of pull you towards him. But you can also use those hands for other things like holding items, choking, grabbing, any of that stuff. But they do make for some really good poses. You get some nice details on the inner palm as well, and then you can also see the buttons on the tuxedo sleeves. Not too much details on the lower part of the figure, mainly just got some wrinkling within the pants, which looks pretty good. The shoes have a bit more of a gloss look. You can see the shoestrings on there, which also looks really good. The back of the actual tuxedo, again, it does have the like tail in the background. You got a couple buttons around the waist, which looks really good. So yeah, overall really nice details in the body. You got a couple peg holes in the heels if you want to put them on a stand. Alright, so taking a look at the articulation for Dracula here, he does have some really good personality. So you could put his head to the side, both sides really good. He can look down really far, and then he can also look up really far as well. He can get his arms out about that far, so he can do a T-pose pretty well. He could rotate the arm up pretty high, and he can get it down pretty close to the body. You only get single hinged elbows, but he definitely gets more than 90, and then you can rotate them to the side. You do get some good hand movement here. Look at that. And he can move his hands in really well too, so that should make for some really good posing, of course, for kind of luring his victims in. Not too much looking down with the waist. Not looking back almost at all because of the tails, or the tail on that jacket. So yeah, not too good in the waist. He can twist, and that's about it. You do get like a kick or a split. Go about that far out. Pretty good knee bend for a Dracula figure. I don't think any more than that. The feet don't really move too much up and down, or much a rocker. Articulation's pretty good on this guy. Definitely not perfect, but I think for a Dracula figure, it's definitely really good. Taking a look at Dracula's first accessory, and we already kind of took a look at it a little bit, and that's going to be his cape, which of course you can't have a Dracula figure without a cape. And you can see it has this like rubber neck piece. Now if you've ever had those old like Dark Knight collection figures from Batman, like Batman movie, Kenner made them, they had these capes that just had these little rubber collar pieces that just snap right onto the neck. And that's pretty much the exact same thing with this Dracula. You just snap it right onto his neck, and there you go, you have his cape. And once you have Dracula's cape attached, you can actually get it completely covering his body if you want. And it's a really nice material, so it's very flexible. I really like the quality of it. But yeah, like I said, you can completely cover him. You can have it kind of like half open, or you can have the whole cape just completely open. So very good quality cape. Alright, so you do get some really cool accessories with Dracula here. First thing, you do get his candelabra, or it's like his candlestick, and it's very ornate. You can see the wax kind of dripping down the candlestick, and there is a lit flame for the wick. So that looks really cool. I really like how ornate it is. It's a very cool looking design. You also get his wine, which kind of has a label on it, and you get the 2 wine glasses. You can see I have one kind of knocked over. Wine inside, of course it's red wine. You do get this serving platter as well, and they're all separate pieces. So you have the wine bottle, 2 glasses, and the serving platter. So really cool looking pieces there. And then finally you do get the Dracula bat. So this is actually him, it's not just a random bat. He does come with a stand also, but I really like the face of the vampire bat. Just really cool, very unique. You can see he's got the peg hole on the bottom. Now I will say the peg that holds the bat itself is not very good. It kind of just like rests on there, and it's kind of hard to get it to lock in, so it kind of just rests on the peg rather than snapping in. And here's one more close-up look at those accessories. Again, really nice details. Alright, and then lastly, you do get some interchangeable hands for Dracula. We've already taken a look at the ones that are on him inside of the packaging, and those are going to be more of like relaxed hands, or kind of like his mind control type hands, like come to me, you know, those type of hands. So he's got a little bit different look to those particular hands. Whereas the other ones are going to be more for like gripping. So the first hand here you have, looks like it's going to be for gripping the bottle. And again, really nice details on there. You also get another kind of gripping hand, and that one's got the ring. And then finally you do get another unique gripping hand, and this is going to be for the candlestick. He kind of holds it in a different way. Here he is with this is like mind control type hands. Interchanging the hands is fairly easy. You just want to get a nice grip on the hand, just pops right off, and then you're just going to pop in that new one, and then you have the different interchangeable hand. And you can get him to hold the tray with glasses and the wine bottle itself, just in case you want to have him kind of getting ready to pour Renfield his wine. And if you change one of the interchangeable hands out for the left hand, he can also hold just the wine glass. Here he is holding the candlestick, and you can see you definitely have to use that unique hand that he comes with, and you really have to get these fingers in just the right spots to hold this correctly. And just to give you an idea of what the stand looks like for the bat, you can see that it does come just a little bit bigger than Dracula, and again, it just doesn't really sit, it doesn't lock on there. It tends to fall off, which is a little disappointing. You do get this clear stand, and then you just have to put it inside of this little black stand. You can see where the little hole is for it. Once you assemble that, then you can just put your bat on here. So again, really cool idea, but the stand itself, not that great. For the first comparison, here he is next to the Ultimate Wolfman and the Ultimate Frankenstein. Both are made by NECA Toys, and you can see the height looks really good. Dracula's a little shorter than Wolfman, and then the Frankenstein's just a little taller than the Wolfman. So yeah, these look really cool next to each other. Here he is next to a couple more NECA Toys vampires. So you have the Lost Boys, David and Michael, and these are very, very old NECA figures. These were part of the old Cult Classics line. So you can see Dracula's a little taller, has a little bit more articulation to him. He's not as pre-posed, but it is cool to see these guys next to each other. Here he is with some modern horror characters. So you have Freddy Krueger from the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and then Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th Part 3. And that does have a custom freak, custom hockey mask. Here he is with the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman, also made by NECA Toys. And this is the 1990 GameStop Raph, where he has kind of like the angrier mouth with the kind of gnarly teeth. I thought it was a really cool one, so I kind of turned him into Vampire Raph. So I've got him with Nosferatu's lamp, Chucky's like necklace, and then also have him with a Star Wars Crimson Guard cape. But they do look really cool next to each other. I will say that Dracula's cape is the nicest one. Here he is with a couple of the Universal Monsters times TMNT crossovers, also made by NECA. So you have the Mummy Michelangelo, and then Casey Jones as the Phantom of the Opera. And these look really cool next to each other. For the final NECA Toys comparison, here he is with the Retro Elvira, and you can see that she's much taller. Here he is next to a couple Universal Monster figures from different companies. So you have the Phantom of the Opera made by Sideshow, and he is way out of scale. And then you also have the Frankenstein made by Diamond Select Toys, and he's pretty well in scale. He just doesn't look quite as good as that NECA version. For your 6-inch comparison, here he is next to the Star Wars Black Series Darth Vader, and then also a Marvel Legends Morbius, and you can see that he is much taller than both. For the last 6-inch comparison, here he is with the Nosferatu, and this is made by Mezco Toys, and you can see that he is just a little too short next to Dracula. And for the final comparison, and this was just for fun, here he is with the TMNT 2012 Raphael as Dracula, and then also one of my personal favorites from when I was a kid, even until now, is one of my favorite Draculas. This is the Real Ghostbusters Dracula Monster. Alright, so here is Dracula next to the coffin, and you do get several little critters with this coffin. We'll talk about those and take a closer look at them in a second. But I did want to show you this. So just like the figure, you do get a nice backdrop with the accessory set, and it's much bigger and a little bit better than the other like background that's included. But it is the same image, so I kind of wish the figure was a better, like a different background, maybe outside or something like that. So it is a slight disappointment that it's the same exact background that you already got with the figure. So before we take a look at the coffin itself, we'll look at these little critters, starting with the armadillo and the opossum. The armadillo is interesting because there was a mistaken idea or a fact that because armadillos were seen digging in graveyards, people assumed they might dig into the caskets and start eating the cadavers. So maybe that's why they decided to put him in the movie. That's pretty cool. But yeah, he's definitely seen in there, like inside the coffins. And the same with the opossum, and I really like the look of him. He's got some really nice details in the face, some different paint going on. So really cool looking critters to add to your Dracula display. And then finally you do get this giant spider, which looks really cool. His legs are a little twisted in the box, so I had to kind of, move him around a little bit. And then you also get the Jerusalem cricket. And I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like in like this small. It is funny that he has a casket like that tiny. But I felt like in the movie it was supposed to be a normal casket with this giant bug. So I'm not sure how they are meaning to go about this, but the way they did it, it's just scaled to be a really tiny casket with this Jerusalem cricket coming out of here. Not to be confused with a regular cricket. This is much different, and it was very common in California. Alright, so looking at the coffin itself, it does look really nice. Pretty basic, but it does look what it looked like in the movie. I really like these little latches, kind of cool looking, kind of has like almost like cat ears or bat ears on it. I do like that. Got some like kind of stains or wear and tear going on. Not much on the bottom. Does have a maker's mark on there. Same, handles on both sides, which looks really good. You can see the hinge on the one side, and then to lift it up, it just lifts up just like so. And pretty basic on the inside, just a little bit of wear and tear on there. No like cushioning or anything like that. So overall, it looks pretty good, pretty light. Not a very heavy piece of plastic, but it doesn't feel cheap or anything like that either. Just to show you how big the casket is next to Dracula, here it is just standing up. And I do like that it could stand up by itself as well, just in case you want to have it standing upright with the door open. But let's go ahead and put Dracula inside of here. So all I have to do is just open this up and just put his arms close together. I'm just going to leave the cape on. Get his hand in there. And close it up, and it closes up just fine with Dracula inside. And then, yeah, if you want to stand it up, you could definitely do that. And yeah, like I was saying, if you want to have it maybe kind of opening with Dracula inside, you could definitely do that too. And there's no real like strength on this hinge to keep it like up in a certain position. So you're better off just to have him kind of holding it with his hands or possibly his feet. And here he is with the coffin and all the different accessories. So you can see you do get a really nice assortment if you buy the accessory set and combine it with the figure. It's just, the coffin goes hand in hand with the figure in my opinion. Alright, so that's my review of the Ultimate Dracula and the Dracula accessory set by NECA Toys. And overall, this is definitely a must pick up. If you are a Dracula fan, if you're a Universal Horror fan, this is definitely an exceptional piece. What really takes the cake for me with this figure is the likenesses to Bela Lugosi. I mean, they have really knocked it out of the park with this. And it's not just one particular head sculpt. I mean, they are all really, really good. And I think that's really what's going to sell most people on this figure. And while that Bela Lugosi sculpt will definitely pull you in, the accessory set is really enticing, especially if you want that essential accessory, which is the coffin. I mean, you just got to have the coffin with the Dracula figure. I do like the accessories that come with the figure itself, especially the wine glasses and the bottle with that little tray. I do love the vampire bat. The stand itself just doesn't function, and I don't think it's just mine. I think there's just something weird with how they made it. It seems like it's meant to pop into that peg, and it just doesn't. The only other tiny nitpick I have, again, it's just because I do toy photography, I do wish I got a different backdrop with the figure and not the same exact one that I got with the accessory set. Because once you open the accessory set, this backdrop is far better than the one that comes with the figure. But it's a small nitpick. The biggest real nitpick is that stand. But as it is, overall, you get really nice accessories, especially if you buy the accessory pack to tie it all together. But I love the interchangeable heads, the hands, everything is right on this figure. So overall, man, this is one of NECA's best. And I think it's their best Universal Horror figure so far. So thanks for watching my review. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have a comment or question, go ahead and leave that in the comments section below. And until next time, guys, look into my eyes.